Hey there, Go community. It's Scott once again. On this week's episode, Zack, CB, and I answer questions from you, the Gaming Outsider community. As usual, most are video game related. We've got quite a few announcements from Sony's State of Play, as well as the March freebies for PlayStation Plus. Also, some sad, unfortunate news about this year's E3. New games discussed this week include Ghouls and Ghosts Resurrected, the demo for Outriders, and another game called Half Past Fate Romantic Distancing. Don't worry, it's not a dating sim. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 335 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, March 1st, first day of the month. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends, Zack Parkerson.
Well, how do you do?
I'm doing all right. And Chris Behrensmeyer.
Hello, I'm here.
Welcome back, buddy. We missed you last week.
I know.
Out on
Work
the ambulance.
sucks.
Oh, I forgot he was gone.
You dick.
Wow. All right.
I'm just kidding, CB. I missed you.
I know. I missed you too.
We did miss you, CB. And speaking of CB, since you were, gone last week, it's been 2 weeks. What you been catching up on? Anything interesting?
I've actually been playing a lot of original Nintendo games.
Really? Yeah, I saw you playing with your son. You introduced him to the original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. He made it farther than you thought he was going to.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be 20 minutes, and he was going to...
He's actually now cleared the 4th dungeon.
Wow. Nice.
So,
proud of that little tyke.
I had him playing that, and then he tried Captain Skyhawk.
Yeah, that game's hard.
That didn't end well for him.
Yeah, he got a little frustrated?
He didn't make it to the first boss, and then he handed the controller to me, and I actually cleared the game.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm not good at that game either.
And then we played a little Dragon Spirit in honor of our producer.
Nice. That's like Nate's favorite game of all time, isn't it?
It is.
What is it? What is a Dragon Spirit?
Dragon Spirit's it's like a shmup, but you play as a dragon that shoots fireballs.
Oh, okay.
Like Nate can make it through the entire game without taking a single hit. He's really, really good at it.
He appears to be quite a large fan.
Yeah. He's got like almost every different version of the game except for one.
He's missing two
variants or something like that. So, anything else besides NES cards?
Actually, I hop back into Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, okay.
Playing some cleanup. So, I'm digging it still. I love that game.
That's just one I'm like so afraid to jump back into because I got to start over at this point. I mean, I barely got to London.
I still don't get that, man.
I know, it's like my kind of game. It's just the number of hours you have to play that game has scared me away from it for some reason.
No, I don't. I never get the starting over thing. For me, it's just like hopping back on a bike.
Well, right, but if it's only been like 2 or 3 hours, I might as well just like relearn it. Plus, I think I want to play through as the male character instead of the female character.
Fair enough.
So I might just do that. But I got spring break coming in about 3 weeks. I think I should just sit down and plow through all of Valhalla in a week. Sit down and try to knock out the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, you can try.
Either that or Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I would. Tough choice.
Yeah.
So I actually saw Cyberpunk for the first time on PC at Nate's house.
How's it look?
Gorgeous.
Better than Series X, I assume.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Zach, what about you? Anything else you've been catching up on?
No, I continue to play more of Anodyne 2, which we talked about last week.
Uh-huh.
Which I'm sorry, I finished it, and it continues to be perhaps the weirdest game I've ever played.
You sold somebody on that game, by the way. Somebody I believe it was on Facebook.
Really?
Said that they bought it just after hearing you talk about it, and they said, yes, it definitely is a game that gets weirder as you go, but he's enjoying it.
Yeah, it doesn't slow down the weirdness. It starts introducing numerous game genres later on.
It's such a bizarre game. Like it's crazy.
Like there's like a whole almost isometric kind of Resident Evil style horror game at one point. There's a lot. The developers start talking to you. It's a weird game. Definitely a weird game.
Totally weird.
And then I'm almost done with Mario 3D World, as I seem to insist on 100%ing it before I play Bowser's Fury.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can't wait for you to play Bowser's Fury. How many worlds are you into it now?
I'm on Mushroom World, which is after Star World. So I guess I think I have 2 more after this, I think.
Okay.
I have 300 stars now.
There's 300. Oh boy,
80, I think, right?
380 or 390
and 85 stamps.
Yeah,
The world I'm in right now has no stamps, which is kind of nice because one less collectible to find.
right.
I'm trying to play through these. They're getting real hard. These levels, real tricky.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury because we actually gave away a copy of that game this month for the month of February, and wouldn't you know it, Mr. Jordan Derringer High won again. So, congratulations! He actually stopped by and picked up the copy this week. So, as for me, as always, I'm back into pinball, guys, like crazy. I have been going through trying to clear my buddy's scores, but the other night, Xbox Live was down. I think it was on Friday night. Xbox Live was down, and so I could not play Pinball FX. Believe it or not, that game is a game that requires you to be online for the leaderboards for obvious reasons, and they wouldn't even let you play on any of the tables. So I couldn't play. I hadn't, and there was a lot of, and I couldn't download anything else. But I had The Messenger installed on Xbox, which was available on Game Pass. Did either of you play The Messenger?
Yep.
Did you finish it?
But I think it's on sale on Switch.
Man, some of the writing in that game, Zach, you'll appreciate. It's like a Ninja Gaiden light in terms of the gameplay. But every once in a while you come across a shop, and it's the same shopkeeper in the shop, and just the conversations you have with this shopkeeper are hilarious. Just I don't even want to tell you why. It's just very clever writing.
Were you playing this game last year?
Yes.
Okay, I remember you talking about the shopkeeper.
So I was playing it, having a good time, and then all of a sudden I got booted off of being signed in. I got signed off on my Xbox, and the game restarted. And I got frustrated and did not go back to it. So I had to start all over again.
That's fair.
So that's what you get with Xbox Live being down. But I don't know. I was having fun with it. I'll probably go back into it now that I'm not quite as frustrated. But I was only like a half an hour or something. But like, it's a half hour I don't want to redo. You know what I mean? I had bought a bunch of upgrades and
a bunch of games out there to play.
Yeah.
You know what's nice about this utter glut of new major releases is you can actually play games that you want to play right now.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's nice.
So, actually, speaking of which, I forgot. I did finish a game.
Oh, what'd you finish?
I texted Zach about this the other day, but I finished my first PS5 game. I beat Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
How was it? How was the story?
Not as good as the first one.
Well,
but
hard to top.
It is still a solid game.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted Zach immediately after finishing it. I'm really excited for the next entry.
Oh yeah, they leave it on a cliffhanger, sort of.
There's the typical post-credit scene.
Ah, okay. I like it.
Yeah, but see, we are talking about it ends on the same cliffhanger, essentially.
It really does.
Oh, really?
So in that way, it really does feel like a summer arc of a comic book series. Where they're just trying to fill some time here while they get the next event ready.
Gotcha.
That's what it feels like.
Hey,
great game though. Don't get me wrong.
Bring on Spider-Man 2. We'll all play it. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. What do you guys say?
Let's do it.
If you insist.
So we got a couple new trailers. First off, Star Wars Republic Commando, which is an older game that is coming to PS4 finally. Also, Pokemon Legends Arceus is coming to Switch. In terms of news, we've got Sony State of Play announcements for February 2021. We've got March's PlayStation Plus freebies and some unfortunate news about E3's live event. It looks like E3 will not be live and in person this year. Some pretty interesting things to talk about. CB, you've been gone for a while. Where would you like to start, sir? I have a good idea.
Well, let's just beat this dead horse while we're here. I'm pissed about E3.
For those that aren't aware, last year was the first year that CB actually was accepted to go to E3 with Zack and myself. And then the show was promptly canceled because of COVID. And now it's not happening again. So I think it's going to be a digital-only event.
I am really getting close to the point that I'm just going to find another event to go to.
just to fulfill the need.
You're going to go to Germany just so you can go to...
Well, you remember as soon as E3 got like officially canceled, I was like, I wonder how much it would cost to go to Tokyo for the Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
Cologne, Germany.
Yes.
I would go. I really would.
I know you would. And you would have gone like even amidst everything probably, which is
probably.
Crazy. So anyway, the news that CB is referring to is there's a report from the Los Angeles Convention and Tourism Development Commission that shows E3 as a canceled event. And the ESA seems to be pushing for a digital-only event, but they are going to be needing some backing from the bigger publishers to make that happen. So the question is, what really is going to happen to E3 this year? Is it going to be a thing? Are the developers just going to do their own thing? Are the publishers and developers going to do their own thing? That seems like the way to go at this point. I mean...
You say that, but I mean, obviously E3 being canceled is devastating because I want to go, and it was the highlight of my year. Mm-hmm. But you say that, but with the state of play that we'll talk about shortly, I'm sure, and then the direct last week, particularly the Resident Evil Showcase, like all of these things are fine. You know, these very specific events, but none of them excite me even moderately to the degree that E3 does. And I think it's just because, honestly, you know, E3, it is so condensed, but because everybody knows that everybody else is going to be there, it really is like you can only put your best foot forward. You know what I mean? You can't do a weird 30-minute Resident Evil demonstration that's like 20 minutes of filler because you need everything to be a hit.
Right.
And that's what makes E3 exciting. And these other things are fine for now, but it's just nothing's going to replace that feeling.
I think you're right too, because like with both of the State of Play and the Nintendo one, I watched both of them, but I just wasn't like stoked. I felt like I was watching just more out of obligation, you know, like just to be in the know. And
I don't want to. Because last week, you know, a lot of the internet was quite upset at the direct, but you and I were fine with it. It's just not. These things aren't bad. They don't ever seem to excel beyond fine.
Well, it's missing that grandeur that E3 always had.
Yeah, even though we're not there physically in the auditorium, there's something about the energy of a live crowd, and you know the flashing lights and the stage presentation, and now we're just in a Zoom call.
And you can't replicate and one more thing with a direct or anything like that.
Right.
It just doesn't work. You can't bring Keanu Reeves onto the stage and light the world on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
It definitely would feel less special. Imagine if when Cyberpunk was announced like that, and they brought in, you know, Keanu Reeves via
Zoom call,
Google
hunched
Meets.
over his desk, looking at his laptop camera. Yeah.
That wouldn't be nearly as cool. It really wouldn't.
You would not have the "you're breathtaking."
I definitely feel that E3 still needs to be a thing, though, because you have so many of these smaller developers that most people aren't going to sit there and hunt out their live stream for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was always the nice thing about having, like, E3 or Gamescom or the Tokyo Game Show is you have all these smaller developers that are coming together as well to showcase their stuff.
Well, I wonder if that's what E3 is going to head towards, because the bigger publishers and developers may not need E3 anymore. So E3 could become more of like an indie showcase, or, you know, the lesser publishers and developers conference.
True, but at the same time,
would be a bad thing because then that stuff is going to be more on the forefront.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go hunt down like EA's live stream event when it was tucked into E3. I'd watch it.
Well, that's the thing is they'll still take place during the same week. You're just not going to look for it under hashtag E3 anymore. I'm guessing. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to all do this stuff, and E3 will probably still cover it, but why would they need the name E3 behind it if it's going to be all in the same week and everybody's going to be talking about it? I think that's the argument that's going to be made, is because in order for E3 to make this, to pull this off the way they want to, they need the backing and they need the financial. They need the money from these companies, but these companies are learning that they can just do it on their own. And if we just do it the same week, that you can't copyright the week, right?
Sucks for indies.
It does.
As CB said, like we would not be able to evangelize Lemnis Gate every few weeks on the show,
right?
If it wasn't for E3.
That's true. Man, what a cool game! I can't wait to play that game.
There it is again.
Just seriously, like that game.
Right, and we found that game because we were just walking the show floor. We just had an appointment to book in our schedule, etc. Like, you can't get that with the State of Play.
That was almost 2 years ago, Zach. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that game's not out.
I know. I was shocked that it wasn't out last year. It's gonna happen though.
And come on, I'm still waiting for Tunic.
Yeah, well,
and forever shall you wait, sir.
Exactly. Zach, what would you like to talk about here?
Look, I mean, I think the most exciting thing that happened was Star Wars Republic Commando coming out, right?
I'll kind of give you that one.
That's one of the top tier Star Wars games right there.
You tell, for people that don't know what it is, because a lot of people in our community didn't realize it was an older game. They're like, man, that kind of looks like a PS2 game. Well, there's a reason it looks like a PS2 game.
Oh, yes. It was a PC and Xbox game where it was a first-person shooter where you play as a squad of clones from during the Clone Wars. Where you play as Delta Squad, who's one of the top clone squads. They are actually briefly in an episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So they are technically also canon, though this game is not. But it's you mostly batting your way through Geonosis. But it has Tamura Morrison voices the leader of the squad, and then you have these 3 compatriots with you, and they all have their specialties. But what was super smart about it was that it was a tactical game, but they did it with one button. Everything was contextual. So if you look at a robot and you just tap A, you would be telling one of your squad mates to distract that enemy. But if you pointed them at a cover and just tapped A, they would know to take cover and flank and lay down suppressing fire, stuff like that. It was just a really smart tactical game, and it's a great game. And there was a sequel that they were going to make where you played as the same group, but after the Empire took over, so you played as them as stormtroopers, which sounded gnarly and rad. But the game as it stands is absolutely amazing. I don't know. If you like Star Wars, you ought to play it. It was a great proof of concept that you can really do any genre in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have lightsabers.
Yeah, I would say the closest would be like a Rainbow Six game, honestly.
Yeah, it was a really good game. I would like to play it again. It's on Xbox already, right? Because wasn't it a backwards compatible one?
Yeah, I think you can buy it back compat for $10 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But this is a Spire who's done the Episode 1 Racer re-release, which we reviewed for the site, or they did the Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast games, put them on modern consoles. So Spire is just apparently sitting around porting all these games in a playable format, which is awesome because you should preserve video game history. And Star Wars has such an intertwined, beautiful history with video games. So it just makes sense to make sure those games are taken care of.
I agree. Are either of you guys excited for Pokemon Legends? Because I still to this day have not played a Pokemon game outside of Go.
I haven't. I just heard about this when I was looking at this. It's basically a re-release of 2 of the older games.
No, this is like an open world, almost Breath of the Wild looking Pokemon game. It looks to me like if you took the gameplay mechanics of Pokemon Go, but you put them in a Pokemon, because you're stealthing around and just throwing Pokeballs at Pokemon to capture them right away.
Let's Go Pikachu did that, where you just wiggle your Joy-Con and it throws the ball. I would
say it looks like an evolution of even that.
Okay.
It doesn't look like a mainstream Pokemon game. It looks like a Let's Go kind of thing.
I mean, I'll probably check it out.
Right. It looks beautiful, but I'm just going to keep lying to myself that I'll play Pokemon Sword or Shield instead, and then we'll never get around to it.
Side note, this weekend I watched Detective Pikachu on HBO.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how good that was. And you don't really have to know a ton about Pokemon going into it, because I didn't, and I quite enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Let's talk about the state of play for Sony. Quite a few things announced here. Won't necessarily go over through the whole list, but the big heavy hitters were, right off the bat, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is going to be releasing on June 10th. There is a PS5 version of the game. It will be a free upgrade for those who purchase the PS4 version. And then there's a new story episode starring, is it pronounced Yuffie? I always pronounce it Yuffie.
Yuffie.
Yeah,
it looks like Yuffie.
Yuffie?
It looks like Yuffie, but for some reason in my head, I always pronounce it Yuffie. So
I'm probably going to keep saying Yuffie, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, and you can purchase that, so that DLC will be available as well. We got another look at Kena, Bridge of Spirits, which releases on the 24th of August.
Now that is pronounced Kena.
Kena, okay, thank you. Returnal releases on April 30th. Got another look at that. Oddworld Soulstorm on April 6th. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time on March 12th. That's coming up real soon. Knockout City on May 21st. A new game called Sifu and Solar Ash, releasing sometime this year. That is from the developer of Hyper Light Drifter. And then more look at Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach, and Deathloop. So did anything stand out for you guys here besides Final Fantasy VII, or is that just me that was excited about Final Fantasy VII?
Well, I mean, Kena Bridge of Spirits almost looks impossibly good at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks, it looks like a animated movie in motion at all times.
That's the one they showed at that first PS5 reveal, wasn't it? That we both kind of sat up and went, oh, "Hey,
this is definitely this is my most anticipated game right now for sure." I think it looks incredible. Is
it exclusive to PS5?
Well, I think it's on PS4.
Oh, okay.
If that's what you mean.
Well, yeah,
but I don't think it's on Xbox yet. Announced for it yet.
Oh no, I meant was it only on PS5, not PS4? I assumed it wasn't on Xbox.
No, we don't really, we don't do PS5 exclusive games outside of Returnal and DLC to Final Fantasy VII, apparently.
Mm-hmm. So that is confirmed that the DLC cannot be purchased for the PS4 version?
Correct. The Yuffie content can only be purchased for your PS5 version of FF7 Intergrade, which is, so only Square Enix would make a DLC to a PS4 game, but somehow make it PS5 exclusive instead.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, Zach. I think that's awful. That is terrible.
Not only that, I'm actually pretty irritated over the fact that it's like, oh, look, this game that we're already chopping up, we're going to chop it up even further.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely weird, right? That you see this content that didn't exist in Final Fantasy VII, you're like, well, that's a lot of development costs and resources being spent in a weird direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost to the point that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will not release until the PS6.
No.
The fact they're making DLC says to me, at least, that they are accelerating, like that they're not slowing down. I think we'll get Part 2 in a reasonable time.
I hope so.
I do hope so. Fingers crossed.
I'm gonna call it right now. That's gonna change before this comes out in June. There's no way they're going to release that and not let everybody that's played the game already, because nobody's played it on PS5 at this point. And granted, you get the upgrade for free if you have it, but PS5s are in limited quantities. They probably still will be in June.
Well, yeah, it's super scummy because you know the game runs on PS4, so therefore the DLC runs on PS4.
Right.
So to make it only PS5 is a real dirtbag move.
I will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think that's terrible.
Where we disagree, I guess,
yes,
on Fantasy VII, is that they also announced a release for PlayStation Plus subscribers getting FF7 Remake in March, but that version of the game is not eligible to be upgraded to PS5. You have to separately purchase FF7 Remake outside of PlayStation Plus if you want to upgrade it.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's garbage.
That's a slap in the face to your early adopters. If you just say, hey, you didn't pay for this game, now you're going to get it for free and get the brand new shiny version for free?
Do Game of the Year editions make you mad?
Do Game of the Year editions make me mad?
Yeah. Because those people wait and then they get all this content for the price that you paid originally up front. Is that a slap in the face to early adopters?
That's not the same, because that is you're not getting anything new. There's nothing new there. You're getting all the exact same content, not any kind of up-res anything. You're not getting a new shiny, prettier version of it.
Okay, well, quick side note, the up-res on PS5 FF7 is marginal at best.
I mean, it's still there. I mean, it's not nothing. Is my point.
Uh-huh.
The game can still be played. You just don't get the.
Why don't you want everyone to have as good an experience as you, Scott?
I want everyone to have as good an experience. It's not about that. I don't even have a PS5, so it's not like it's not affecting me one way or the other.
I'm just enjoying you two fighting over this.
Well, I feel like it's rare, because that's crap. Like if you get this PS4 game for free and you play it and you're enjoying it and you're like, oh man, I got a PS5. I guess I gotta hang out on my PS4 though if I want to keep playing Final Fantasy VII.
So the game is completely unplayable on PS5. It's not like you can't backwards compat it and play the PS4 version.
Oh, I don't. That stuff is too confusing for me to follow.
But you know what I'm saying? Like because the
no,
PS5
I hear you.
Back-
I honestly don't have the answer because all of that stuff. Xbox is handling all of that so much better with the smart delivery stuff.
No, I agree with you. But to me, Intergrade is not just the DLC, it's also the up-res version of it.
Don't you think maybe shouldn't you be able to just pay to upgrade to Intergrade from the PlayStation Plus copy? Because you can't do that. You have to go and buy Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, see, I would agree with that.
Right, you have to buy like the $60 or $70 version, right?
Well, yeah, or go find it on sale somewhere or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
how long is that game gonna be for sale for $60-$70?
I don't
3
know.
weeks?
I don't know, man. I do not know how much it retails for right now.
Like who's really gonna buy that? Because if you really, really want to play Final Fantasy VII Remake, you've already played it, which means you've already purchased it.
Yeah, so why does it matter if they get a free upgrade or not?
I mean, that's kind of fair. I could see that. But I mean, but who is the market for? Who's going to buy it?
Like 10 people that didn't play it?
I mean, I know you're being, what's the opposite of hyperbole when you're going small? I know you're being very, very, you're shortchanging him in terms of how many people have actually played Final Fantasy VII. But I feel like the people that have really wanted to play that game have already played it. Although there were some people on our Discord saying, "Oh, I finally can get around and playing that game since it's on there."
It's just weird. This has never happened to a PlayStation Plus game before, where it's, here is this free game with the strings attached.
I get it. I just look at it from a business standpoint. Square Enix is offering a new experience for people that already purchased the game and offering a new experience for people that did not purchase the game. So if you didn't purchase the game, you're not going to care if it's up-res version. More than likely, if you didn't, I mean, I'm making a lot of assumptions, but I feel like if you didn't already purchase Final Fantasy VII Remake and you wanted to play it, you probably didn't buy a PS5.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But Sony also said that 1 in 5 PS5 owners did not own a PS4.
1 in 5 PS5 owners did not own a PS4.
Right. I find that hard to believe.
I find that really hard to believe, too.
Well, that is what the manufacturer and seller of the console has reported.
How would they know?
Again, statistics
because you would have to create a new account and everything?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but how many people now that I don't need to use my email account or I've changed my email account, I'm going to start a new one.
Sure, but that's, again, another assumption that you're making to get to the fact. But even if it's 20% of people who didn't own a PS4 now own a PS5, that's still a big number.
Just
I still find that number a little too far-fetched.
I will just believe the people who have the data, I guess.
Yeah, it feels like a stretch. Like
data
why would they need that?
Be manipulated.
You're right, manipulating the data. Anyway, let's talk about it from a non-combative angle. I mean, are you excited to play as Yuffie?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think it's so conflicted because it gives me hope that they're really focusing on Final Fantasy VII, but then B, I'm like, why are you distracting yourselves from finishing Final Fantasy VII? I'm like, oh, it's super cool. They're doing like the side story set in the universe, but then wait, shouldn't we just be focusing on Yuffie's story as it is? So I guess I'm completely conflicted. But
that's a good point.
I'm at this point in time, I'm waiting for Intergrade Part 5. Here's Vincent.
Right, yeah. What was Vincent up to when Midgar was crashing?
Chilling in a cave.
Plus, didn't we see another playable character? I'm trying to... Can I really spoil that game? What we saw...
Okay, Sith.
Yeah.
I'm going to go say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, CB brings up another great point of concern. Like, what do they just do 16 of these now? And we just, get the second part in 2030. Yeah, it's just...
I can't imagine that will happen.
They're just going to go, like, episodic now, and then finally, like, towards the end, they're like, oh, look, now it's the Mastered Edition with all of them put together so you can play the game continuous.
For $40.
Oh, no, it'll be 60.
No.
By the way, did you see the soundtrack? I know you're not a Spotify guy, but the soundtrack for the remake is now officially available on Spotify.
No.
Went through and was listening to that. That really made me want to go back and play the game again.
I do. I mean, the game is phenomenal.
It is, but it's just that's a long haul for a game that I've already completed and will not do me any good.
Right.
It's a lot of hours, but it was so good. So good. Did you see there's like another version of Final Fantasy VII as well? It's like on mobile, where like they use the original sprites or whatever from PS1, but like the characters, when they say that when the characters speak and you see their text, they actually have like really nice looking images of what the character looks like. I don't know.
Well, did you see that? I think that game you're talking about is making all of the FF7 storyline playable for the first time. Like Advent Children's content will be playable in video game format with that release.
Ooh.
Right.
And they're going to weave in like Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core canon into it. Yeah. It sounds kind of cool. It sounds like what we all wanted this game to be, almost remake.
Yeah.
Kind of. I didn't see a price tag on it though.
I think it's supposed to, that FF15 Pocket Edition where it's like the first 2 chapters are free and then it was like $4 a chapter after that or whatever. I think it's going to be like that. I don't know. That sounds cool if you like every few months they release it and you just like pay $5, you get a little bit more FF7. That sounds rad to me. I would almost want that.
Be down with that. Then I don't feel like rushed to go through the game. I can just go through this one segment.
It somehow feels less predatory than if it was $5 per chapter and was released all at once.
Right. Where you just get a little bit at a time.
It's almost like an FF7 subscription service.
Did anything else from the state of play interest you guys?
I think Returnal is looking like a real wicked cool sci-fi game, and first time I've seen a PS5 game in action where I'm legitimately a little bit disappointed I don't have a PS5.
I feel you.
It looks cool.
Crash Bandicoot 4 is looking really good.
It was a weird thing to open the show with, but otherwise it was. I mean, it looks great. Sifu.
That's a perfect thing to open the show with, in my opinion.
Well, like a PS4 game that's been out since November.
It's been out since November.
Crash Bandicoot 4?
Yeah, it's been out on PS4.
I must be confusing it with the... Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. That is a weird thing. I'm thinking Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, yeah, that should have been in the show somewhere.
That should have been the
opener. Yes.
I don't know why I confused those two.
Very different games.
Yeah.
But Sifu from the Absolver developers, that looks like Daredevil the Hallway Fight, the video game. So that kind of looks cool.
Right.
But I mean, they're selling. They've actually unsold me on Deathloop.
I'm getting there because the trailers are annoying.
Well, that first teaser was incredible. Looked amazing. And then the concept of the game sounded friggin' awesome. But the more I'm seeing of it, the more it just kind of looks like Dishonored with a different skin on it. And it just... And you're right, the trailers are very... I like the song, the very Bond-esque song, but otherwise like the actual content and the writing is like weirdly... almost Borderlands-y to me.
I know.
Much different tone than I expected out of the teaser.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch this one just because I didn't remember seeing that. I must have turned off this by the time Deathloop came on.
I was towards the end, right before Final Fantasy, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I was also watching this at work, so...
Oh, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's just... I've never seen a game unsell itself to me so quickly.
Yeah. And I know Zach mentioned already that the Final Fantasy VII Remake is available for March for PlayStation Plus members, but also included will be Farpoint, which I believe I played on VR.
I thought it was just a VR game.
It is a VR game.
Yeah, and it's got that's the one that works really good with that plastic gun thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it came with it came with it. You're right.
It was that, and then they bundled it again for Bravo Team.
Gotcha. And also Remnant from the Ashes, which you like that game quite a bit, didn't you, Zach?
Yeah, Remnant's great. It is a Bloodborne / Dark Souls kind of game, but with guns.
Nice. And then Maquette, which I have no idea what that is.
It's a perspective puzzler coming to PS5 this week, as you'll hear moments from now.
All right.
And it's but it stars Bryce Dallas Howard.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. And that's going to do it for the news. Before we move on to the games we've been playing, just want to remind everybody that we are an independently funded podcast, and we've got a Patreon to help offset some of the costs that do come out of our pocket. And that website is patreon.com/thegocast. We've got levels to match your budget, and each of those levels do offer some extra bonus and goodies, including bonus episodes. If you're at the $3 tier, you get 1 bonus episode. If you're at the $5 tier, you get 2 bonus episodes. CB, we got a new episode this month. What's going on?
There's a Break the Seal episode on the game Star Tropics on the original NES.
Yeah, I sat down with Nate, our producer, who neither of us had ever played this game. And it was a really fun conversation.
It is a long game.
Not as long as you think. It's only 8 chapters.
Well, okay. But for an NES game, it is a long game.
Yeah, I will say that Chapter 3 is about half the game by itself. But it's an interesting game.
Yeah. I know we talked earlier with, I know you talked with Spencer. There's some stuff in the works for upcoming episodes. I know I still want to do one on old video game peripherals.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a new one to play with. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's right. You got I remember what you posted the other day. For the Super Nintendo, right?
It's actually for all the old consoles, the old chest thumper.
Oh, man. We got to try that for sure. That's going to be interesting. Also, don't forget we've got Break the Seal episodes where we play a game that somebody from our team has never played before. We've got our Legacy episodes where we kind of take a deep dive into a game that was important to the history of video games or just was for the development of games. We've got games that aren't for us. That's where CB makes us sit down and play some terrible game. I know we're not supposed to say that, but just some really awful games and point and laugh at us while we suffer through them. It's a lot of fun, and signing up gets you access to all of that past content. So if you are interested in any of that, be sure to head over to patreon.com/thegocast. It helps us keep the lights on, keep the show running over here, and we really do appreciate the support. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the games we've actually been playing. All right, Zach, what's new in the horizon this week, man?
All right, man. Let's see. Harvest Moon One World comes to Switch March 2nd. That is a Harvest Moon game with different biomes, so you can start a farm in the desert and stuff. So that seems kind of like they're actually doing somewhat of an evolution on the franchise after 20 years.
Farming in the desert sounds like not a good time.
But Luke pulled it off for a while.
Right.
For 19 years anyway.
He was a moisture farmer.
Right, it got too hot though, and Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen got roasted.
Too soon.
Maquette is the perspective puzzle game we were talking about earlier. It almost kind of looks like The Witness. Let's go on PS5, PS4, PC, March 2nd, and again, that stars Bryce Dallas Howard, who has directed both one of the best and one of the worst episodes of The Mandalorian. The next Neptunia game is coming with Virtual Stars on PS4 March 2nd. I can't believe they keep putting out Neptunia games.
I don't even know what they are. I've never
kind of bizarre.
Neptunia.
Like Hyperdimension Neptunia?
Mm-mm.
You ever heard of those games? Oh man, they're JRPGs where the game industry has come to life. They all take place in the world of game industry, and you play as a woman who is essentially the Sega Dreamcast. I can't believe you haven't heard of these. They've been pumping these out since early PS3. But there's somebody out there who loves that lore as much as we love Star Wars. Somebody's out there doing it. Yakuza Like a Dragon completes its slow release onto every console known to man with its PS5 version coming March 2nd. Sir Lovelot is a indie platformer about romances of princesses coming to PS4, Switch, PC March 3rd. Loop Hero is an indie game about a time loop, believe it or not. PC March 4th. Sea of Solitude, which is a cool looking indie game that came out, I want to say a year or two ago on other consoles. It's getting a director's cut on Switch March 4th. That looks pretty cool.
CB and I played that, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. It's a good game.
Yeah, it's an interesting narrative.
Looks great. I'll probably play it on Switch because I'm on such a Switch high right now. Yeah. Everhood, indie game that's like a rhythm combat, coming to Switch and PC March 4th. And then 2 Point Hospital gets its Jumbo Edition and releases on the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch March 5th. Is anything catching your interest here?
Sir Lovelot. Looks like Super Meat Boy to me. I think it looks great.
It really looks like a tough as nails platformer.
Yeah. What about you, CB? What sticks out here for you?
Harvest Moon, One World.
Really?
I love Harvest Moon games, man.
I love Harvest Moon games when they were about farming. I feel like lately they have not been about farming.
What are they about?
There was one I played at E3 that just felt like it was a Mario Party game instead, and I just did not enjoy it.
Oh, I think most of them are just straight up farming games.
They've actually incorporated quite a bit of story into them. The last one I played was Harvest Moon Light of Hope on Switch, which I enjoy. I'm actually still playing it. To be honest, I prefer Stardew Valley. It is the superior version of those kind of games.
It is the Harvest Moon endpoint is Stardew Valley.
Yes.
Stardew Valley is just way too complicated for me, man. I tried.
Really?
I was overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed.
That is a true Harvest Moon game.
I've actually never played Stardew Valley, but I've had it on my Switch since launch.
I actually still pick it up maybe once every other week and just do a little bit.
It's a good time.
But yeah, ever since Harvest Moon split and it to become Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons, it definitely feels weird. But every now and then I like cracking back into a Harvest Moon game, so I'm kind of happy a new one's coming.
Nice. Yeah, it's weird that break because it seems like, Story of Seasons, you would think with the director and creator of Harvest Moon, it would be everything you want, but it feels like half a Harvest Moon game, and now Harvest Moon feels like half a Harvest Moon game. It's just sad that they had that disagreement, I guess.
Yeah, it really is.
They're both shells of their former selves. For me, Everhood looks great. Maybe I'll tell you more next week.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what's in the cards. But, speaking of the onslaught of old school style video game releases, Scott, playing Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Now, I want to start by saying I cannot wait to hear what you think about this game because GameSpot gave it a 4.
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
All right.
But then I've also seen like 9s. So I'm so curious about what you feel about this game.
I really don't know how I feel about this game yet, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think as a package, this game is put together. It's much more accessible. It's a much more easily accessible entry into this series. Have you guys ever played Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins or any of these games?
Yeah, I'm terrible at them.
They're notoriously difficult, right? Just notoriously difficult. And that continues with this game and then some. But they've added difficulty levels, which was, to my knowledge, was never a thing in the original games. You just had one difficulty level on those things. And if you remember, Arthur, whenever he gets hit, he loses his armor. And then your next hit is a death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing goes here, but you can lower the difficulty where your first hit, instead of him losing all of his armor, he loses everything except for like maybe the shoulders. And then so it's like another hit. And now he's naked running around in boxers. And
that's seems like a smart way to modernize the difficulty without like totally sacrificing, your game design.
Right. And they've made some of the enemy movement a little bit easier as well. So it's not just that. But I don't know. It just makes it a little bit more accessible. They also have like these, you know how in a game like this, there's checkpoints where if you die, you start back at the checkpoint again. So if you get there, you're good. Well, this one has like bonus checkpoints that are halfway between the checkpoints that are called like resurrection banners or something like that are optional. You don't have to take them, and it makes your score once you actually do beat the level. It makes it go down the more times you use those resurrection banners. So, it becomes a score chase to get through the level with as few deaths as possible and using as few banners as possible, while also getting all the treasure chests and fairies and things like that are hidden throughout the world.
Okay.
Here's the thing, and one of the things that they've done with this game that actually pays really great homage to the original games is that, unlike a lot of classic NES games, this does not rely on pattern memorization, which is almost frustrating because you want to memorize the patterns to make your way through this. Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, the enemies have specific patterns that they follow, or rule sets that they follow, but they don't always show up in the same pattern. And that continues here in this. So it's more reactionary than memorization, which is very clever, and I like that they adhered to the old formula that way with this one. But sometimes you just want to memorize it. You know what I mean? Like, you're a Souls guy. Isn't there a lot of memorization? Like you just go through and you can just kind of go through the motions once you learn it?
Yeah, well, that's kind of, the whole design conceit is, there will be a guy under the bridge here, there'll be a guy around the corner here, etc.
Right. Now, this is obviously a 2D platformer, not a 3D fully rich world. This is almost like a humorous game. But guys, this is tough. I've only been able to pass 2 levels. 2. And one of them I dropped down the level of difficulty a level. So it's not easy. And what's crazy, if you remember from the original Ghouls and Ghosts, or no, from Super Ghouls and Ghosts on Super Nintendo, he had a double jump. If you remember, you jump and then jump in the air. There is no double jump in this game, which throws me off like crazy. Because if you know anything about the jumping in Ghosts and Goblins, once you jump, you commit to your jump. You can't like back up. You know what I mean? Like you are moving forward until you land. It sounds like a weird thing to focus on, but it's something you have to get used to in this style of game. And with a double jump, you actually had a way to kind of react to that. You don't have that in this one. Another difference that I didn't learn until like about 3/4 of the way through the first level, you have the ability to fire straight up and straight down, which we never did in the other ones. It was always just shoot left or right. So that was a difference. So I have a love-hate relationship with this game. I think it's very well made. I think a 4 is completely unfair because I think what they've made is exactly what they needed to make for a sequel to Ghosts and Goblins or Super whatever. The namings of those games don't make any sense to me. It's very difficult. It holds true to difficulty. It's not going to hold your hand unless you drop it down to the super easiest level of difficulty. I will say some of the things that bum me out. The chests. Remember in Super Ghouls and Ghosts, at least on Super Nintendo, it was always like a challenge to try to make your way through the level without getting hit and uncovering the chests. And then if you had so many chests, you got the super gold armor, which powered up. You got the super awesome weapon, and your weapon fired better than the rest. It was always this great, kind of like in a shmup, CB. Like the further you go without getting hit, you get the power-ups, and you just feel more and more and more powerful, right? That's how Super Ghouls and Ghosts work. In this one, those chests are basically just collectibles. Now, some of them will have a different weapon that you can acquire, and some of them will replace your armor, but nothing's going to make you stronger with that.
That is kind of disappointing.
It is disappointing. However, they've added a skill tree. So after you finish a level...
Of course. They have to ruin everything with skill trees.
Before you even go further, I'm actually with Zach on this one. This is a kind of game that did not need a skill tree.
I agree, actually. I would prefer that they did it the old school way, where see how far you can get and see how powered up you can get, instead of now I have to spend time trying to find these hidden fairies and get them before they disappear while I'm trying to avoid these stupid burrito enemies. Trust me, they look like burritos, flying burritos. and they're super
yum,
annoying.
Yum, breakfast burrito.
So I'm trying to collect these things while not getting killed, and then I go to a skill tree and I get this power up that I can use once per level. It's just not as exciting, at least unless I'm not understanding how that works. So I have likes and I have dislikes with it. It's very satisfying to complete a level. I beat a boss today on my first try, which I didn't think was going to be possible. But I died about 50 times getting to that boss. It's very unforgiving. This is a game that you're not going to pass a section of a level the first time. It is a trial by fire, trial by death, as it were. See what they're throwing at you. And not in like a Super Meat Boy kind of way, where, okay, I see what I have to do, now I just have to execute it. This is, I see what I have to do, I have to execute it, but I also have to react to the way that the enemies spawn, because they're spawning different than they did last time. And that is super frustrating to me. It's very annoying. But I'm going to keep playing it, because I want to see what they do.
Well, and it does have that brand recognition, too.
Yeah, the music is really catchy.
Yeah.
I do like that one.
All right. So would you recommend it?
I would recommend it if you are a fan of the original games and you're ready for a challenge. If you're not one for being frustrated, stay far, far away from it. It's very difficult, but the easier level difficulties make it a little bit more accessible. So let me get back to you. If I'm gonna like hardcore recommend it. I will say I wouldn't recommend it for $30. I was shocked that this game was $30. Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, even 25 seemed like this feels like a game that would be 25, but
can you believe we react that way to major brands, major video game franchises, that we were like, oh, 30 too much, and then like they really think that they're going to go with $70 on every game.
Right.
I really thought this game was going to come in at $20.
Yeah, it feels like a $20 game, but I will say it's polished. It's not just they've animated Arthur completely different. It's not like they've taken the same sprites. They've done a lot with this and added quite a bit to it. It is a full game.
All right.
Did you guys see, while we're talking about video game prices super quick, that Sony was reducing the price of Destruction All-Stars from $70 to $20?
I did not.
Ouch.
I thought that was a PS Plus game or something.
It will be a PS Plus game, yes, when it launches, but that's still... I think that should be an indicator to publishers about what pricing realistically should be more than anything.
Yeah.
Because you only do that if you look at the pre-order numbers and go, well, I guess nobody wanted that.
I think I've heard one podcast talk about that game.
I think it looks actually kind of cool. I just think if they were smarter, they would have just slapped the Twisted Metal license on it.
Right.
It looks so much like a Twisted Metal game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of games that have actually kind of piqued my interest, and I'm kind of curious because you both have played it, Outriders, the demo.
Let me start by saying I got, I think, a half dozen people to download this demo.
I'm one of them.
Scott's one of them. Aaron from the Hollywood Outsiders, another. Just based on the sales pitch of, hey, it's kind of like Gears of War.
Yeah. It feels very much... It feels slicker than Gears of War, though, somehow.
It's a little bit looser, right? Because you play as such a tank in Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for this, and I started to get those kind of vibes. And I was like, I'm really curious to see what this game is about, because I kind of want to play it.
Even before Zack gets to the gameplay, the story setup is super intriguing.
It's awesome. That's actually... So I downloaded all the trailers and everything of this game. I completely was like, this looks like an absolute snooze fest. Right? It just looks like another shooter. It's cool. But then, they put out the free demo, and I downloaded it out of intrigue of, well, they don't put out game demos 2 months before a game launches anymore.
Right.
Right? So what the hell is this about? And then you play it, and it's really story-focused, which I did not expect. I just thought it was going to be, a very standard looter shooter. But it has this awesome sci-fi hook, and I don't want to... Scott can tell you what it's about, but it is strangely involved, and I was not expecting the Mass Effect-style conversations either.
Right. I mean, I almost don't want to give too much away, because the reveal is fun. But basically, Earth has been depleted and exhausted and gone the wayside, and the last of humanity has boarded these ships to go to a new location, and they've started to colonize on this place, and you play one of the survivors, as it were, and you go through and start out with your standard, like talk to the general and practice with your weapons with holograms, and then just stuff starts going crazy. Like you're investigating, looking for these probes, and some, can we say, mystical things begin happening, and like a weird storm appears, and
yeah. Storm covers the entire realm of where you're at, right? But their goal is, there are people sleeping in cryosleep, and you're the first wave of colonizers, and your goal there is to like build a city in like 6 years or something like that. 6 months.
Right.
6 months. Like it's like very hard sci-fi, very interesting. But then like the mystical storm comes in, and all of a sudden it's space fantasy. It's super cool. But it eventually leads to warring factions breaking out over this planet, because that's what humanity's good for.
Right. I mean, you kind of saw that coming. Like, we got a brand new planet. What do you think we're going to do with it?
Right. I did like you land on the planet, and like the first thing when you walk out of that camp is just they're like logging the entire forest, and you're like, humanity at its finest.
Right.
Of course, we land on a brand new planet for the first time, and our first goal, this forest is in the way, man.
Right.
Let's get rid of it. We didn't learn a lesson at all, and that seemed very honest.
But there was a fun twist leading up to that too.
Right. I don't want to give away the twist, though. That's
right. I'm not going to. But I did not see that coming.
That really recontextualized things and really got me into, from, oh, wow, this game's surprisingly good, into, oh, I'm buying this game.
Right. Now, here's the thing I have about it, and I want to get your take, because in the demo, they broadcast this, or they're selling this as being a 35-hour campaign or something like that. And to me, this feels like it's going to be a game like Division 2 or a not quite a Destiny. But you know what I mean? Where it is a campaign, to me feels very linear. Like you just start here and you go through the motions, like a Call of Duty campaign.
Yeah, I think we think that because we're old. I don't think that's what a campaign means anymore.
Okay, but you understand what I'm saying? Like this is a mission campaign. Like go around and do missions around an open world. And there's loot. Did you notice, like, when you pick up weapons and you swap them out, it felt very Destiny a little bit?
Yeah. The menu sucks in this game.
Yeah.
It sucks, because it's just a slow-moving mouse cursor thing, and you can't use D-pad at all. Although, you know what's funny, though? Because I've been trying to keep up with the Hawkeye stuff and Avengers and everything, because none of your loot changes how you look in that game.
Uh-huh.
So the loot does change how you look in this game, and my immediate was, I was like, oh, that's nice to have back.
Right.
It gives the loot at least some meaning.
Well, talk about the gameplay, because some people that haven't, I mean, anyone can go play it right now, but what drew you in so much with it?
Right. Well, I mean, it's just it is a cover-based shooter, very much Gears of War-ish, I would say, which makes sense, right? Because people can fly as a developer of this game, and they made Gears of War Judgment, right? So they have experience with it, and they made Bulletstorm, and you have these. It's a mixture of the setting and the cool sci-fi story and the dialogue that doesn't make me want to throw up or anything like it does in The Division, because it's just so boring in The Division.
Right.
I would say it's not a far cry from how The Division plays, though, right?
That's what I'm saying. And,
yeah.
But that's what I want to tell people is, like, this isn't going to be like a Call of Duty campaign. It's going to be more like a Division campaign.
Right, but unlike The Division, they say it's not a live service game. It's a complete in the box thing. They have an end game plan with something called expansions, but it's not a live service game.
Right.
Which I think is hallelujah.
True.
But you're
which
right.
class did you play?
Whatever the time controlling one is.
Okay, I played as the one that was like this, not a sniper class, but like from a distance class.
Okay, yeah, I got the up close and personal one.
Yeah, CB, you would like it. There's a tank class basically. I don't remember what they call it, but
yeah,
you just get in the middle of it.
So I was just enjoying the cover-based shooting because it reminded me of Gears of War and Division, which are two cover-based shooters that are fun. And the only thing that I didn't like about the Division was, that they made me have to do all this leveling up crap to get to the next mission. I was not going to do that. Right. The Division did not earn side quests from me. But then the powers get introduced in this game, and the time control ones are hella fun. So you can either, you could teleport behind somebody, but what's really cool is that you have this time bubble you can create, right? And it just creates a sphere around you, but it slows down everyone in you, but also slows down all the bullets in front of you.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
I didn't play that.
So it almost it's just kind of like Neo when he watches the bullets coming at him.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's wicked cool. It's not, and you have this weird time sword is your first power, so you just slash people with it, and then they just quickly age and explode.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's friggin' cool, man. So I'm way into it. I'm doing these side quests in this demo, and I want to learn more about the weird force storm thing that's happening out there. It's and the coolest part about the demo is your campaign progress carries over.
Yep. So and it is literally the beginning of the game. You're playing the first few hours of the game in this demo.
Correct. All right, I might actually have to download this and check it out.
Yeah,
it's
worth checking out.
Play it out. Yeah, I didn't expect to be an Outriders evangelist when I entered this year, but I guess that's what I am now.
It seriously plays like a quicker Gears. You feel the controls feel very similar to Gears of War, but you just turn quicker because you're not, your neck isn't the same size as your forehead.
So it's Bulletstorm.
Nah.
Well, I would say for the time class that I'm playing as, I definitely get flavors of Bulletstorm.
Wasn't Bulletstorm first person?
Yeah, but I'm just talking about the pace of the gunplay I'm playing is about as experimental, not as experimental because Bulletstorm is really one of a kind, but it does have a very unique flavor that does remind me of Bulletstorm in some ways. So I think it might come down to your class.
That's true. My class had ice powers. I was able to freeze enemies and then shoot them while they're frozen and break up into pieces, which was fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It seems like a great game to play with humans. I mean this in the nicest way possible. It reminds me of a game that you would play on 360.
Yeah. And that brings up another point too. I feel like it looks a little rough.
Yes, I can't deny that. It's especially the cutscenes.
Yeah.
The cutscenes seem like they're still loading while they're playing.
Yeah. Or one of the opening scenes, the captain, the guy that's got a huge trench coat, he sits down on a thing and the trench coat is just going straight through the boxes that he's sitting on.
Yeah, which is very it's just the lip syncing is a little off, and there's this weird problem. I don't know if you got it whatever console you're playing on, where sometimes the dialogue would end one or two words early.
Okay.
Are you getting that?
Yep.
Yeah, and I can't tell them is this a direction where they're cutting people off to try to make it sound more naturalistic, but the subtitles play the whole sentence, so I don't think so. So it's just. But
then you see some of the action, when the storm is going on, the stuff looks great. It just doesn't look polished. There's so much going on the screen, it's hard to complain about it. I don't know. And I felt like the frame rate, I'm not a frame rate guy at all, but I felt like it was stuttering a lot for me.
Yeah, so. I think it's a great indicator of, they say most games these days, the day one patch is really, the master of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great point. This proves that point.
Yeah. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised though, CB. You should check it out for sure. Especially because it's not wasted time because it'll all go towards whatever you do. So
it is hella fun.
I think even in the demo they say they max how much currency you can carry in the demo because they want to encourage you to spend. They don't want you to hoard. They want you to experiment and spend stuff. So
well, I did a side quest and it permanently unlocked a new shopkeeper, which I thought was cool.
Oh, that's cool. So, Outriders. Go play the demo. It's free. I played it on Xbox Series X. You played it on PS4, I assume, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you got nothing to lose but time, people.
Absolutely. Do have one other game I want to share with you guys. I sat down with Alyssa to talk about a game that she checked out for us. It is called Half Past Fate Romantic Distancing. Before you switch off, it's not quite what you think. Check it out. She seemed to really enjoy this one, even though it's short. Here you go. Once again, I'm here with Miss Alyssa White. Alyssa, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing, Scott?
I'm doing okay. A little tired, but you know how it is.
Yeah,
it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
As always. You've played a game for us, and this one's interesting because this isn't one that came across my desk. You actually came to me and said, "Hey, Scott, I want to play this game. Can I review it?" And I was like, "Sure, let's see what we can do." And I'm intrigued by that because the game is called Half Past Fate: Romantic Distancing, which it sounds like a dating simulator on the surface. How far off am I?
Pretty far off.
All right, good, because I'm not a big dating simulator fan. I know you are.
Definitely not one. Definitely not one.
Oh, you're not one?
No, I mean, the game's not one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so what is it? Because it looks like an RPG a little bit.
It's actually pretty much just a visual novel.
Oh, okay. But the characters are very sprite-driven? Like,
it is a pixel art visual style, which I loved, and you do get to move the characters around, but you can't really do much besides sometimes click on some things in the environment and your character will comment on them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly just these two characters, Steven and Robin, talking and getting to know each other.
So it's a love story.
It is, yeah, and it's set during the current pandemic.
Oh, okay, so it's got some little relevant things going on in terms of what's happening in society.
Mm-hmm.
So does that play into the story at all in big ways, or is it just a setting?
Oh, it does play in the story because it forces the two characters to have to video call each other instead of being able to like go out on a date, because as soon as he asks her out, lockdown happens.
Ah.
So it's just them getting to know each other virtually.
So did you like this game? I was a little mixed in your review.
I like it, but I think it's too short. It only took me 45 minutes to complete.
Oh, wow.
And as soon as it really got interesting, it just ended. So, I can't, and there's really no replay value, so it's really tough to justify the $6 price for it right now, for it being so short and not really being able to replay it any.
So at 45 minutes, is the story just pretty linear, or is there any branching paths in the story, or are you just pretty much along for the ride?
You do get a couple of chances to pick between like two different options, but I don't think it affects the story that much, and it's not something I would want to go back and play through just to see what happens.
Okay. Do you recommend people check it out?
If it sounds interesting to you, and this is a spin-off from the original Half Past Fate, so if you like that game, definitely check it out. Or if you want to wait for a price decrease, give it a shot.
Yeah, I saw it's actually like $6 right now.
Yeah.
Which, for 45 minutes, you figure a movie is $12, and that's twice as long. So it's about on keel with a movie, although you're not getting, you're not getting a movie quality look here, but still, time-wise, it matches up.
Yeah.
That again is called Half Past Fate: Romantic Distancing. It comes from the developer Serenity Forge and was provided to us by Way Down Deep. So shout out to those guys. Alyssa's review is actually on the website right now, which you can find at thegamingoutsider.com. I believe she gave it 6 out of 10.
I did, yes.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so be sure to check that out. And Alyssa, as always, it is a pleasure to talk with you, my dear.
I always love being on here, so thank you, Scott.
We got to have you on a full episode one of these times.
I would love that.
I need to make sure next time that because CB is often out working, we're going to have you on to fill in his chair sometime.
Yes.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too, Scott.
Bye.
Bye.
Moving on, we do have some new Facebook members to say hello to. Just as a reminder, our Facebook group is at the GoCast, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Want to say hello to William Varney, Patrick Jackson, Vala Tukey, Jimmy Shipman, and Jeremy Barnes. Welcome to the community. Hope you're enjoying the content and discussions over there. Also, our Discord is alive and thriving. If you'd like to match up with us and play some games online together, be sure to check that out. The link is in the show notes. And also, we try to keep updated with news. And there's all kinds of interesting things on there. I think we have a WandaVision spoiler cast. Or not spoiler cast, but spoiler channel. So if you want to talk about that in there, we got all kinds of stuff like that going on.
That show rocks.
I enjoy that. Only one more left. Only one more. Also, our website, thegamingoutsider.com, is where we house all of our written content as well as episodes, everything. Alyssa's review of the previously mentioned Half Past Fate: Romantic Distancing is available there, as well as Dry Drowning, which she talked about last week. And by the time you hear this episode, we should have a review up for 30XX, at least for the early release or early review copy that we got that Rel completed for us. Let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. It is Zach's favorite month. He loves, not favorite month, but favorite day of the month. He loves this episode where we do community questions, and we got a good number of community questions. If you were listening just a minute ago, I gave all of our social media outlets, and each month, on the first episode of the month, we ask our community on Facebook, on Twitter, on Discord, anywhere that we can, give us some questions that we can discuss or we can answer and use it as a discussion point here on the episode, which is what we did this week. And we're going to kick things off with Facebook. I'm going to pass this question to CB first. CB, this one comes from Jordan Derringer High. You are a gym leader in the world of Pokemon. What type of gym do you run, and who does your team consist of? I pass this to you because I can't answer this question because I know nothing about Pokemon, but you guys do. So
No, you're going to have to answer it anyway.
I have no idea.
I don't care.
You're just going to have to make it up. You're going to have to figure it out.
Okay.
You got time. You got time until we get to you.
See, this is the problem is like they've changed up gyms so much. But I would just go back to the original Red and Blue, and I'd want to do just dragons because I've always liked dragon type. So basically Charizard, Gyarados, and I think I'd be like one of the easier ones. I'll only go with 3 and Rayquaza.
No Dragonite?
No, because I've never liked Dragonite because I think it's just a stupid looking dragon.
Yeah, he looks like he would hang out. He would like Pete the Magical Dragon.
Yeah.
Puff the Magic Dragon?
That's right. Same thing.
There was
Pete's
a
Dragon?
Pete's Dragon.
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't watch
Disney
kids'
movie.
movies. I don't got a kid.
Pete's Dragon is older than me, man.
Yeah.
Like the original.
See? Well.
Puff the Magic Dragon is older than you.
They did
Puff
a
the Magic
remake.
Dragon is that's like 60s, man. Anyway, what about you, Zach?
I mean, great question. I think I'd want to be kind of like hanging out in Lavender Town. Again, all my Pokemon knowledge is going to be Red and Blue. So I'm sorry, Jordan, if you're a huge Pokemon guy. I think a ghost kind of type gym would be cool in Lavender Town. Maybe like I would, build I would operate out of a cemetery. That'd be pretty wicked. And I would just use Gengar, Ghastly, Haunter.
Just all ghastly, so you can just say lick.
Well, Haunters look cool. I would have 2 Haunters because my character sprite is going to have a Haunter hanging out on each of my shoulders. And that's going to be pretty cool. All right.
Have a shiny and a non-shiny.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just to prove how much I care about Haunters. And you could throw in an Alakazam, maybe. Some psychic type Pokemons. Maybe I'll throw in a Mr. Mime because he's just creepy. So I just want to have like a creepy kind of gym. And you can call it'll be the Spoopy badge.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna have but one of the trainers that you have to battle through to get to me, the gym leader, are just gonna have like 6 Butterfrees. Just to throw you off.
Butterfree.
It's gonna be awesome.
No. To throw somebody off, they have to have like 6 Dittos.
That's creepy. No thank you.
I know what that means now. I watched Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Just list 6 Pokemon from that movie. See what you can pull off.
No, I think my gym would be Average Joe's, and my team would consist of Steve the Pirate, and I have no idea.
Get out of here. Do a fighting type gym. Just all the champs.
cast of Punch Out are his Pokemon.
That'd be great. Soda Popinski.
Glass Joe.
No, not
Mike
Glass
Tyson.
Joe. Mike Tyson. Still have never beat Tyson. Still never have. Never will.
I mean, you still roll Glass Joe out front because then you get all the trash trainers out of the way.
Okay, so Operation Human Shield, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
That's right. Mike Tyson should just take a beating.
Next question comes from Sean Coates. I'll direct this one to Zach. Which is the correct pronunciation? Ubisoft or Ubisoft when referring to the studio behind Assassin's Creed and Far Cry?
in every behind-the-scenes video I've watched for Prince of Persia, they all say Ubisoft. So I've gone with Ubisoft. I always thought it was Ubisoft as a youngin', but I will defer to Ubisoft Montreal on this one.
If they call it Ubisoft, I'm going to have to start calling it Ubisoft, but
I have a feeling that if you say talk to the Rainbow Six developer, they might say Ubisoft. I think the French pronunciation is going to be Ubisoft, but we Americanize it as Ubisoft. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but I refuse to be uncultured swine, so therefore I will say Ubisoft.
So more or less, there's no wrong answer.
I'm trying to make everybody feel good.
Okay,
yeah, that's the new Zack.
What do you think, CV?
I will defer to Ubisoft. Just because Ubisoft sounds weird.
See, to me, Ubisoft sounds way more professional.
Way more sexual.
Like you.
Oh, wow, I wasn't even thinking
that.
All right, next.
I do think it's. I swear, I remember because their games used to come with these making of videos on the disc, like Beyond Good and Evil and Prince of Persia stuff, and I could have swore that's where I learned it was Ubisoft.
You could be right.
That's my final word.
I may be crazy.
Well, there's no maybe.
May just be a lunatic you're looking for.
Are you coming on to me?
No.
He's just song lyricing it up.
Next question. This one is for CB. Well, starting with CB. What are each of your genres that you have no interest in and why?
Souls games, because I utterly suck at them.
Well, that and platformers.
I'm not that bad. I'm actually getting a lot better. I've been practicing, sir. I completed the original Super Mario Brothers sub 30 minutes now.
Nice.
So I'm getting better.
All right.
I'm practicing.
So Souls games are your genre to avoid.
I honestly I would rather smash my face into a wall for 30 minutes than play a Souls game.
Wow, I can't. There's just nothing I'd rather do than play a Souls game.
See, I'm somewhere in between because I'm terrible at them, but I'm open to learning. I opened myself a little bit to oh my gosh, Bloodborne. I tried Dark Souls remaster and I just didn't. There's just no direction. They give you no clue.
You beat Fallen Order.
Yeah, on easy.
Yeah. Let's see. You still did it?
I got halfway through that, over halfway through that game on normal. I just wanted to hurry up and get through it because I wanted to see the story. So
I will openly admit I am open to them. I keep trying them, and then I just basically yeet them out of my system.
Did you just say yeet them out of your system?
Yes, I did.
He's one of the kids.
Trying to be cool and hip.
I feel like there's something that clicks in your brain with those games that just has not clicked with you or me yet.
Yeah, I could. I will agree. Like Fallen Order, love that game to death, but it is definitely Souls light.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Dark Souls just makes me want to gouge my eyes out with a spoon.
Wow. All right. What about you, Zach?
Well, I guess, I would have said roguelike, but I guess Hades really changed the game for me on that. But, I guess the boring answer of, racing games and fighting games, racing games really aren't going to do it for me unless it's split second. That game's phenomenal. Burnout. Even Burnout is okay. For me, I can't really play a racing game longer than an hour. And fighting games, I wish I was good at, but I don't have the drive that it takes to really get great at them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just kind of something I write off, which sucks because sometimes they look really cool. And of course, I will watch some more Mortal Kombat or Injustice cutscenes online, or in the rare instance, I'll play through their story campaigns on the easiest difficulty I can because I'm just not good at fighting games.
I agree with both of you actually, but I'm gonna throw bullet hell shmups into there because I want to be good at those games and I just can't. There's just something that just does not work in my head. I actually went back and played 1943 Remember that was on the Switch? They released it on that Capcom arcade or whatever.
I was playing that the other day.
I remember that game having a lot more power-ups than that game actually has.
Oh, no, they're not there.
No power-ups in that game, which is crazy to me by comparison, because that's one of the fun things about modern shmups or later shmups is, collecting things and just seeing how many bullets you get to unleash on the screen at one time. But I never make it that far.
1943 really wasn't a bullet hell, though.
Well, no. I'm just saying, I'm comparing that one to other ones. But the bullet hell ones are the ones that I just can't.
Ikaruga
especially, like the whole. There's something in my brain that doesn't work with binary things. If it's one or the other, and I don't even necessarily like true false questions were never a problem for me when I was a kid. But when I have to remember one way or the other, I just can't. I can't do it. I don't know why. I can't remember.
I mean, the nice thing about like Ikaruga, though, I mean, that is definitely a game that is all pattern recognition.
Yeah, there's no variation. The enemies do the exact same thing every single time.
Yeah, which, as much as you love pattern recognition, I'm surprised that hasn't clicked with you.
I don't know why. I think it's a patience thing, man. I think it's when you're a kid, you have nothing but time to memorize those patterns, and now I just want to get through the game.
Fair enough.
And I just don't have the time or the patience to do that because there's too many freaking games. There's too many.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my answer. Next one comes from Christina Flores. It's been a while since we've talked about this. So who were your biggest crushes in video games over the years? Who wants to start there? Done this before.
We'll let you start.
Scott, why don't you start?
I've done this before, but Quistis from Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh yeah.
Was, had that like librarian glasses, long straight blonde hair.
She looked like a straight up dominatrix.
Very classy dominatrix.
Well, I'm not going to pay for a trashy dominatrix.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, I see what you're saying. Not the leather. She still had, like, the flowing. Renault was cute, too, but Quistis, man, she was where it was at.
Definitely.
How much
just one? You just got one crush?
I mean, that's the first one. I wasn't expecting to go first, so I'm going to have to think on it.
Okay. I got Basila from KOTOR. I had a big crush on her when I was, a youth. And still, I got a bunch. Kaine from Nier, Zero from Drakengard, Marin from Fallen Order. I'm like in love with right now. I think about her often. Generally, just kind of female video game characters.
What about Resident Evil 2?
Claire. I like Claire's swearing, but she's not like. I'm not fiending after her the same way. I kind of like women that'll step on you and then charge you for the privilege. Yeah.
All right.
That's what I want. So that's kind of. Those are a few. And then you got the hotties like Garnet from FF9. He's a big crush on her.
Okay. I was gonna say Marl from Chrono Trigger. Even though
really?
It was more like a personality thing. Like she was just so sweet and optimistic, and when she did that little jumping animation when you won a battle, I just found it cute. Even though it was a sprite, I don't know. Mini crush on Marl.
Oh, any video game character Sam Witwer's ever portrayed?
Yeah. Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
All right. CB, what about you?
So. Let's see, Jill Valentine.
Mm-hmm. Resident Evil 3.
Yep,
correct.
Always loved that character. Juliet Starling.
Yeah,
from Lollipop Chainsaw.
Absolutely.
Oh. Yeah.
And
you got the
and
achievement,
course,
didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And of course, Aerith. Like I've always liked Aerith's character.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Still. It'll always be too soon, man.
The remake
Sad
made
jerk.
that even worse.
Not yet.
No. I'm saying the crush, like when she was all did up and Don Corneo or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't think about Aerith so recent, but man, Aerith and Tifa both in that game.
Just her wittiness in the new one.
Much sassier. I love it.
I'm like, yep, I love this so much. So it'll always be too soon, man.
Christina, go finish Final Fantasy 7.
Good. You'll find some new crushes for yourself.
Or do you think she's finished the remake, but she's never finished the original? So should she just like finish the original as is, or do you think she should still go back and?
I would just wait. If it's your first time,
I think she needs to wait.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going to do with the story?
Right.
Thing.
She has a unique perspective.
That's true.
Right. Like I love Cobra Kai, one of my favorite shows. I've never seen Karate Kid, and now at this point, I don't think I can because I have a unique perspective.
When it's all done, you should.
I think so. I agree with you. But I kind of like being one of the 4 people apparently who watches Cobra Kai but has not seen Karate Kid.
Yeah, that is fair. All right, next question our last one on Facebook comes from Alan Scheck, who says, "What are your favorite educational games? I won't accept arguments for the inclusion of mainstream games that happen to be educational. I mean games you play in school like Math Blaster or Typing Tutor. I'd maybe make an exception for educational modes on mainstream games, Discovery Tour by Assassin's Creed, Minecraft Education Edition, but only if you actually played the mode." I have 2 big ones in my head. I assume one of you is going to have them. He's going to have one of them.
I think the only educational game I really know about is Oregon Trail, right?
Oregon Trail is going to be...
Yep.
I don't even know if you consider that educational, can you?
I would say it's too mainstream.
It is...
For Alan's question.
It's definitely become more mainstream, but as a meme...
I think everybody in the 80s played Oregon Trail, though.
But they played it in class, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it started as an educational game, yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely have it on my list, but it has to be played in its original format, like on an old PC.
Man, I would probably freak out looking and see what that looks like now, because back in the day I thought it looked cool.
With the old mouse that had like the one wide square click button.
Right. Yeah. Did you have any others, Zach? I got one other.
I don't really remember them. I don't really think of back on school fondly.
No?
I'm sure there was some kind of Star Wars educational game I probably played to death as a kid or some nonsense. But I'm just not... I don't really remember them, man. Sorry.
No? Because it sounds like you have a list, CB.
I've got a few.
I'm going to tell you the only other one that I can think of. It was a game called Number Munchers.
Yep.
Do you remember Number Munchers?
I do.
It was, how do you describe it? It was not quite Pac-Man. It was basically a 5x5 grid. And you were this little green frog-looking thing that would go around and it would give you the answer. Or you would either give you the answer and then you had to eat all of the multiplication problems that equaled that number. Or it would give you, or the other way around. And there were enemies that would come around and they would eat some of the correct answers, or they would eat you. But it made this very specific noise. You would just control him with the arrows and press the space bar to eat. He would go, I can't make the noise very well, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And that was how I learned my multiplication facts, was Number Munchers. Frog fractions?
Yes, of
that
course.
Is not.
No, we all play Frog Fractions, and that's a smart educational game.
Yeah,
you should really have your kids play that one if they haven't played it yet. Mm-hmm. That's how I learned my fractions.
Oh my god! Stop it!
CB's ruining it.
We've talked about it before.
I know.
Yes,
hey, every episode somebody's first, right?
Go play Frog Fractions. God. It's free. Just go find it, play it.
Your kid will love it.
Trust. Yeah, your kid's gonna love it.
No,
there's nothing inappropriate.
It's nothing inappropriate.
There was a few things that we found in that game that were actually pretty inappropriate.
I don't think so.
I think it's due for a replay. We need to get somebody else to play that. Did we talk about that on? Yeah, we did do that one on a Patreon episode.
Yes, we did. Man, so I actually had a lot of educational games on growing up.
Okay.
Math Blaster. I know I made you play that one.
Math Blaster, yep. I played that one. We did a whole episode on educational games.
Yep. Loved that one. Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
Was
I actually had that.
surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually a very fun competitive game to play.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad.
Yeah.
Where in the world is where in time or Carmen Sandiego?
Oh, Carmen Sandiego. I played that one at school too.
Yep.
That was good. And then they had the TV show with Rockapella.
Yep. Well, there was also the animated one too.
The animated one wasn't as fun. The game show one was way better.
So I definitely remember both of those. Oh God, there was the Sesame Street games. Had those growing up.
I did not play those.
They were not good.
Isn't there a Mario? Mario is Missing?
There's Mario's Missing, Preschool Mario. There's the Elmo ones on N64.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that are out there. It's just some of them are bad.
I'm just thinking of the ones that were on PC when I was a kid. Like, I know there was more than Number Munchers and Oregon Trail.
So one of the ones that I remember from PC that we always did in grade school was this program called Logo.
Okay.
Which was basically teaching kids early on how to do coding.
Yeah.
And like you had to enter like a command line, and it was this little turtle on the screen, and depending on what you did, it drew these like complex designs.
That's an Apple IIe, wasn't it?
That was it was on an Apple IIe, but it was also on PC. Wow. And unfortunately, my copy for Apple IIe doesn't work anymore.
Oh man, I would love to go back and find Number Munchers, especially if I could find a playable version online. Because I've looked, unless I've just haven't looked hard enough. I would love to introduce that to my students with multiplication facts. Because man, that was
it's on ColecoVision.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Number Munchers.
Yeah, but it's a PAL release.
Oh. How did I get it on the computer at school all the time when I was a kid? Because
a lot of stuff was available on PC at that time.
That's true. All right, moving on to Discord. David Newman has a question for UCB. If you do not plan on selling a collection, I'd assume Scott doesn't plan to with his Zelda collection. What is the purpose of having the highest value for the items in the collection? Example, keeping something in the box to increase the value. This is more of a question out of curiosity, not calling anyone out. I know I guess it's directed more towards me, but you collect stuff as well. So why do you keep things?
It's a status thing.
It's a status
plain
thing.
And simple. Yep.
What do you mean by that?
So
like, to demonstrate how big a fan you are or something, or
no, in the collector's community.
In the collector community, it's definitely a status thing.
Oh, okay.
Because there are certain games out there that there aren't a lot of, and if you have them, you're one of those people that has them. There's actually an online listing of all the people that have the known copies of the Nintendo World Championships because those are all serialized.
Mm-hmm.
So on the front of every Nintendo World Championship cart, there is a serial number, and all the ones that are publicly known, there is a list of who currently owns them.
That's kind of cool.
I know Scott and I have talked about this at one point in time, like off air, that even though I have this collection at some point in time, like if I ever needed to sell it, like I would.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I as much as I say I won't sell it, at some point I don't have any kids. You have kids, at least you could pass stuff on to.
Yeah.
I don't have any kids.
Scott, I'll be your kid.
Yeah, right.
No problem.
So at some point it's an investment. So the better I can keep things in a good condition, and CB starting to get me thinking about grading some of my stuff, which I don't know if you're familiar with grading. They do it for comics. We talked about it before. But I've got some complete in-box original stuff that could be worth some stuff someday, especially if it's graded. So, throwing that extra $100 at something to potentially triple its value could be worth it. So these are things that I could look at flipping at some point down the line. Maybe not all of it. There's going to be something in my collection I'm going to have to keep if I get rid of everything. But right now, the Nintendo collection is more like a hobby just to see if I can do it. I know I'm under 100 left, aren't I, CB?
Yeah.
But they're getting hard to come by.
And see, that's another thing is with some of those high value things is I've openly talked about this. I'm a big proponent of preservation of video game history,
Mm-hmm.
and with some of those items, there aren't many of them left.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they've degraded over time, or people have thrown them away, or they've been destroyed or damaged. So actually being able to have a functioning version of some of them, granted, I've probably paid more than I should for some of them.
Yeah, but you also played a lot less than you should have for other stuff.
Yes.
It all balances out.
So it's more or less holding on to it for preservation's sake, at least for me. And now that my older son is definitely becoming more interested in like the same hobby as me,
Mm-hmm.
like keeping that going as a multi-generational thing makes me very happy.
Plus, for me, it's something that not a lot of people do. It's something that I have in my home that people come over and they see and they're like, wow, I've never seen anybody collect something like that. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's very easy to not open something. I mean, as an adult, it's easy to not open it. When you're a kid, it's very difficult, right? But as an adult, if I don't open it, I'm just as happy with it sitting there on my shelf and being a part of my collection. I don't have to play with it or have this collectible on my desk or something like that. So it's easy. It's a simple thing of not doing something that makes something more valuable. It becomes a game that way. You know what I mean? Like it becomes a game of how much perseverance do I have to make this last? I could go open up every box on there and just totally degrade the value of everything, but I've put a lot of work into not doing something to make it valuable, and it's fun for me to keep that going. Zach, do you have anything to add to that? I know you collect some things. You got some new in-box stuff.
Sure. Well, actually, yeah, I have no plans to sell anything. If I did, why would I have bought it? Right, I want it for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I'm not really investing. I don't. To today's point, I actually don't keep a lot of things in the box. The only things I think I actually have in the box are my Revan and Malik Funko Pops and my Cal Kestis Star Wars action figure. And that's, I mean, the action figure is just because I don't know what to do with an action figure. Right? I wanted it because it was Cal Kestis, but I bought it. I was like, what do I do with this? And now it just happens to be worth usually like $90 to $100 on eBay.
Right.
So just, you know,
pose it.
Yeah, but then when I don't know. I feel like I always mess up the pose. Like I had that 2B action figure I bought, but that was actually quite shoddily made, so maybe it wasn't the best example. But for me, you know, the high value stuff is just like, it's worth money because people want it. I happen to also want it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm smart enough to get it at a cheap price, or, you know, follow it on eBay and get it at a deal, or maybe I just pay an outrageous sum of money for something, it's because I want it. And one of my favorite joys is like the opposite of Scott's, which is to track down something super rare and then open it.
It just makes me sick to my stomach.
It makes me...
Not me.
Because to me, I feel like I've rescued it because, finally it belongs to somebody who actually wants to use it. And really, I'm doing you a favor, Scott, because now that item just went up in value because there's one less in the world.
There you go. Just don't open mine.
I'm glad that somebody else kind of agrees with me on this, Zach, because I hate sealed games and sealed product. Open it up. It's meant to be played with.
That's really my thing is I want it. Like I wanted to use it, you know?
Weren't you gonna like get all of the Zelda amiibos and come over to my house? He had this plan to like coordinate with my wife to like come in the house and replace all my amiibos with opened versions of them on the shelf, and then we just come home and see them there one day.
Like all the ripped packaging on the floor.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
I would have pooped my pants so hard.
You would have actively cried.
Probably.
It would have happened.
Now I gotta go find like the big black Master Edition Zelda.
Dude, that thing looks
Find a
so
sealed one and just
pretty
rip-
on my shelf right now. If that thing
I'm gonna
opened,
rip
I'd be
the
so
box,
angry.
like just shred the box.
Yeah, did I tell you that story? I was lucky on Breath of the Wild release night. I was like one of the first in line, and they had one of those that nobody had pre-ordered. And I was like, I will take it. So I think I bought 3 copies of Breath of the Wild that day.
Oh wow.
I think 3 or 4.
My getting these Revan and Malik Funko Pops was a freaking multi-week affair. Because I had them pre-ordered from the day they were announced at my GameStop, but then they like shipped them to the wrong store, and they said I wasn't gonna get them, and I had to I called customer service every day, and then like this store in Alabama had gotten someone's pre-orders that they weren't supposed to get, so they had extra ones. They shipped it to Missouri. It was a real process, but it was worth it. And now I got these stupid little Funko Pops of these frickin' game characters from 2003. And you know what? It does make me actually a little bit happy that they're in the box for those ones.
There you go.
Because I
But
worked
they're
so
meant to be
hard.
played with, Zach.
I will probably crack them open at some point. I really will. The action figures probably not, because again, I don't know. I think the action figures in people's collections where they kind of like to hang them on the wall, you know, like from nails or whatever, they look pretty slick. So I'll probably do that.
All right, next
Yeah.
one from Discord comes from Drew Ross. He says, you're stuck eating at only one restaurant, not fast food, every day for a week. Which restaurant and what food?
The not fast food makes this so much harder.
I know, right?
Oh, not for me.
Oh,
No? Go for
Old
it.
Chicago.
Old Chicago. I do love me some Old Chicago.
It's my go-to, especially now that it's March, so they brought back Irish nachos.
Oh, that's true. Oh,
What
Irish
is-
nachos.
Hey,
Wow.
for those of us who don't know, what is an Old Chicago?
It is a Americana style restaurant, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Is it a chain or is it just one of them?
It's a chain.
It's a chain,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's usually it's your typical I guess you would call it bar food.
Yeah. But they have deep dish pizza, but it's not Chicago. They call it Chicago style, but it's not
No, it's definitely not.
Chicago style.
But every year in March they put out what are called Irish nachos, which is homemade kettle chips with corned beef and Guinness beer cheese.
They're also known for their vast beer selection, which has been a thing before craft beer was just exploded across the country. They advertise that they have 110 different beers on site at all times, that was how I got into craft beer. Was they keep track of the beers that you drink, and you have so many different ones, and you get a bottle opener and sweatshirt and stuff like that.
You're
If you
what,
drink
tour
your way through
5?
I'm on my 5th tour right now, but I haven't been to Old Chicago in so long.
I know, dude. I'm fiending. I want to go.
Well, when we were planning an R2V2 a couple summers ago, we went there like once a week just to the
Yep.
bartender actually like knew us, and that was like our lunch break. We stopped at Old Chicago, and this summer, man,
Oh, we'll be there.
we'll be there. And then when Zach comes up here, we'll take him to Old Chicago so he can experience it.
Yeah, apparently I'm missing out. For me, the answer would be whatever, a Korean restaurant of some sort. There's a place called Korean Saban in Kansas City, so I
Mhm.
guess I would pick that. But I could eat Korean food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day of the week and be perfectly happy. Love Korean
Alright.
food so much.
You're gonna have to take me to a good Korean
Yes, I
food
know.
place.
Your LA Korean experience did not go well, which sucked for me because we were in Koreatown the whole week, and we mostly ate, Taco Bell and Subway and stuff
Hey, that was your idea.
because
We
I
did
couldn't.
not have Subway.
No, I did manage to talk you out of Subway. You wanted to go to Subway,
I just
That's-
wanted something I knew.
but it being a bad first Korean restaurant really put Scott off the idea of other Korean restaurants, which did
I will
not.
try it. I will try it.
I don't even think we really have a Korean restaurant here in town.
I don't think we do either. If we do, I'm not aware of it.
I mean, I know there's like Vietnamese, Thai.
Yeah.
Right. That's sad, guys.
That is sad.
It is.
For me, not sponsored by this show, but there's a restaurant in town called Octane. Octane that is owned by one of our listeners. I'm not saying this just because he's a listener, but I actually really like their food. It's kind of fancy. I went there the first time I ever went there. I had a warm pear salad, which is something I never thought I would have liked. Like it was warm pears, like think like warm cinnamon apples, but it was pears on a salad.
We know what pears are, Scott.
No, I know, but I just like I had never had a warm pear before. Anytime I ate a pear, I always ate it like, cut up
Cold,
or just like you bite into an apple.
What's the opposite of hot?
Shut up. But they've got really good burgers, good beer selection, and service is always great. I really like that. But if I were going to go with something a little more mainstream, I know this is a weak answer, but I love Texas Roadhouse.
If I had to pick a mainstream option, it would be Texas Roadhouse.
I loved their gravy is the best. I get a smothered steak, covered in Colby Jack cheese.
Why would you mess up your steak like that?
Because man, you got to try it sometime. You got to get a steak. It's just like the cheap sirloin. You don't get like a New York strip or anything. You get a sirloin steak, cover it in Jack cheese, and then you get a little side bowl of brown gravy. And every piece you dip in the gravy. It is my new favorite thing.
Oh, it's the one food in the world you don't need to mess with in any way.
Okay,
here you go.
All right. We're adding this question.
Uh-oh.
How do you like your steak?
I used to be a medium rare, and I've matriculated to medium.
Yeah, medium rare as well. Or medium rare for me. You like your steak cooked blue, CB?
I actually will enjoy a blue rare steak and rare.
Disgusting.
That's gross.
Yeah,
I've also partaken in steak tartare.
Oh,
is that just like straight up raw?
Yeah,
that's
pretty
nasty.
much.
I've never entertained the idea in my head of that. No, thank you. I don't get mad at a medium steak either. I would say
the farthest I will go is medium rare, but. Yeah, it's rare all day for me. And on the rare occasion, if it's a high grade piece of steak, it's blue rare.
I do not understand well done steak at all.
No. Order a burger.
I seriously just don't get it.
I did like when I finally worked in a fine dining restaurant.
Uh-huh.
I like that. I was like, how much do you hate cooking well done steak? He's like, oh, it's a great way to get rid of the cuts of steak we can't use for real people. So it's wonderful, actually. I thought that was really funny.
That's actually a really good point.
You can use the bad steak on those people because they obviously don't care.
Right. All right, 2 more left. This one comes from Nasty Nate. He says, if the Go was a band, who would do what? I'm going to start because, sorry, CB, but you're playing bass. You look like a bass player.
Yeah.
We actually determined this. I'm just going to be a roadie.
You're going to be the roadie? All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so either roadie or bass player. I mean, bass players are basically roadies anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with the bass player choice for CB.
Yeah, you just look like a bass player. I don't know how else to describe it.
Because I think Zack looks like a guitar player.
That seems kind of mean. Is that mean? That sounds like an insult. I don't know music. I don't know if I'm insulted right now.
Okay. If I'm going to be insulted as the bass player...
No, it's not an insult. There's nothing wrong with playing bass. You just look like a bass player.
Actually, if I could play anything, I want to play the theremin.
The theremin in a band?
Needs more triangle.
Well, I was a singer in a band, so...
Yeah, you seem like a lead vocalist, yeah.
I'll sing. My band was called Bad Decisions.
Wow. Also the title of your sex tape.
Wow.
We got to figure out something for Zack because he's not he's not a big music guy. So
might just like the producer. I'll be the songwriter,
the band manager. Oh yeah, you could be the lyricist.
I could be the songwriter. That'd be cool.
There you go.
I think Nate's the manager.
Oh no, Nate is the guitarist.
Nate plays guitar.
Oh yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. Well, Christina's got to be the manager, right?
That would make sense.
No,
she'll keep us on task.
That's right. She does play keyboard.
She plays piano.
Well, she
sings too.
Well, she can't sing. You're singing. Come on.
Yeah, but she's got a better voice than I do.
I don't care. That's not. She's not the tone of the band we're going for. Okay?
Who's gonna play drums? We need a drummer.
Bob.
Yeah.
Bob plays drums.
Definitely, right. Bob.
He just seems like a drummer.
He's too nice to be a drummer.
Spencer on rhythm.
Spencer on the rhythm guitar. There you go.
Who we got left? Chad?
Chad and Owens.
Chad and Owens.
Right. Owens do you think Owens works in security?
Yeah, I could see that.
He'd throw somebody out.
Owen's running
Smile on his
security.
face.
Which
And,
means Chad on tambourine.
Tambourine.
Chad's hard. I feel like Chad's such a chill guy. I don't really know where to put him.
That's what I said. Tambourine,
Tambourine,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, there you go. That was a fun question.
See, I like being the songwriter because then I'm also out of the spotlight too, which I appreciate greatly.
I see. I like the spotlight.
I don't want it. Like if we were making a movie, you could be the lead actor. I'll be the writer. Maybe
I
the
want to write
director
too. I want to write and direct as well. But I want to.
You want everything.
Yeah, I want
You
it
just
all.
wants to be a star.
All right, last one comes from Brandon Smith. If you could cast each of your fellow Go-hosts to play a video game character in a movie adaptation of any game, what game would it be, and what character would you cast them as?
This feels like a loaded question.
This is a loaded question. I wish I would have put more thought into it. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
Let's see. We're gonna do a Gears of War movie.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna contrary to what what was that?
You cast me as Carmine, I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
Contrary to what I just said, I'm going to be Marcus. I'm going to cast myself as Marcus. I want to be the lead in Gears of War.
Okay.
I'm going to go. No, CB's going to be Baird, and even though I wish I could be Baird because he's my favorite character, but CB's one contentious guy, and just like Baird would also have defended CD Projekt Red during Cyberpunk 2077.
You shut up. I could live with Baird. I like Baird, so.
Bear's a favorite character, so I'm not putting you down in any way. Scott's gonna be Dom because Scott seems like the eternal bro. You know, he's got your back. Let's see, Nate. Oh man,
Coltrane.
No way. Owens is Coltrane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a colorful personality. Christina, I'm sorry, is Anya by default. Because it's one of the 3 female characters in the whole franchise or whatever.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to cast all 9 of us.
I'm going to try. Just I don't want anybody feel left out.
All right.
Nate could be like a Ty, I think his name is. I want to see he's in Gears 2. He's kind of like the monk kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Nate's very chilled. Let's see. I'm going to make Spencer Dizzy, the cowboy guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think's good. And then I got Chad, man, he's kind of hard.
Carmine.
In the Gears.
Carmine.
I don't want to do this.
But Carmine can live.
Yeah, you know what? Chad is Carmine, but the fan voting decided he lived.
There you go.
Right, and then is that everybody? Did I get a 9? Is that 9 people?
Except for Bob.
Bob. He's the the leader guy. I can't remember the name of the leader guy.
The leader guy.
The gentleman who runs the cog.
Oh, the gravelly
President.
voiced.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
I don't either.
No. Bob can be Marcus Phoenix's dad.
There you go.
I would love to have Bob as my dad. Bob's a great father. There you go.
There you
Bob,
go.
you're Adam
I got
Phoenix.
you.
Love it. Sorry that we end up together, Christina. That sucks for you.
CB, how about you?
Well, I'd probably do a Fallout game. I would be the Lone Wanderer.
Of course.
Let's see. I'll go off. I mean, but see, that's the fun thing about Fallout. I could just make you all my friends, and you could all just be versions of yourself.
Can I request to be cast as the mysterious stranger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
I'll be that guy.
Just Zack in a trench coat following me around shooting things.
Occasionally
just
shooting
like-
a guy?
I forgot about that. Didn't you just like randomly show up and like destroy enemies
In the
for
VAT
you?
system.
In the
Yeah,
VAT? Yeah.
He's just a perk where he just randomly comes along and finishes off an enemy for you, then vanishes again. That would be awesome.
Always smoking the cigarette with the
Yes.
the trench coat.
He's the best character.
I want to play
if
Fallout
I was-
3 for the first time again.
Yes.
If it was 4, I would definitely make you Nick Valentine.
Also acceptable. Haven't played Fallout 4, but I sure know Nick Valentine.
Yes.
I'll take him. Scott's right. I do wish I could That would be an amazing
Scott
game.
would be
though.
Preston Garvey.
Oh,
Wait, who am I?
The guy that runs the Minutemen.
I don't. Man, it's been a while.
There's another farm being attacked. You need to go help them.
Oh, that. Yeah. I stopped listening to that guy after a while because I kept doing everything he said. I was like, okay, we're done here.
Well, I mean, I love you to death, Scott, but I get those text messages all the time. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this? So I was like, Scott's my Preston.
Yeah. Hey, I need help moving a dresser up the stairs. Can you give me a hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh man, maybe it's a good thing.
So I gotta have my. I gotta have a Zelda movie. Obviously, I'm gonna be Link.
I'll be Zelda.
You are a very tall Link that talks way too much.
I can learn to be mute, kind of like Cardon.
He talks in the manga.
Yeah, he talks in the manga. There you go.
There you go.
And the TV show, the animated TV show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Do you remember
you're gonna be a
that,
Goron?
Harsh. You could be
Okay.
they got cool ones like oh man, I can't remember their names. There's a sage. The Sage of Fire is a Goron.
Yeah. The one from Breath of the Wild. You mean?
Well, him too.
I mean,
I was
don't
talking to
defend
Yakuza,
him too
yeah.
much. You're gonna be Tingle. So
I'd rather die. Can't it be the Skull Kid or something?
no, you're totally gonna be Tingle.
Why?
Just because it makes me smile.
All right. I
Who
gave you
did
Dom,
that?
man. I gave you Dom, and this is how I get treated.
Yeah, you're gonna be Tingle.
I mean, at least he didn't make you like Navi. Hey, listen.
Listen.
You're Dom exclusively in Gears 3, though, now.
Oh. Those are fighting words. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for the question. Stay tuned to social media next week for our question of the week next week. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zach, thanks so much for being here, man. Anything you want to say before we head out of here?
You know what? Do you remember the IGN parody trailer for a Zelda movie that they did many years ago?
Vaguely, yeah.
For April Fools. That thing actually looks really good, and I hate them for it.
Yeah.
It looked like a solid movie. So
I hate it when
my-
those things happen and you're like, why wasn't this a full movie? Didn't they do that with a Punisher? They had a Punisher movie with Thomas
Jane. Oh, that was just a fan film that happened to have
Right.
Thomas Jane. Yeah.
But it was like 9 minutes long or something. Like, I want a full movie of this.
Yeah, it
or
was
they did a Power
awesome.
Rangers fan film
Yeah.
that looked great.
That was the best one of all of those.
I want to say they
like-
did a Spawn like fan film where it was like a horror movie in the convenience store. And that was pretty cool too.
I don't
Man,
remember that one.
for the first time ever, I'm getting into Power Rangers though. I guess this could be my parting words. There's a Power Rangers comic book that started like 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know anything about Power Rangers, and it's awesome.
Really? Stay
It's-
far away from the TV show.
I like
Hey,
that first season they did when I was a kid. That was cool.
Yeah.
I remember
well,
I was a Power Ranger
first
following
season for which first season?
Mighty Morphin, right?
Okay, so like the OG,
With like Kimberly and Tommy and all them.
which was like season 12 of the original show in Japan.
Well, season 1 for me, man. What do you want from me?
So your parting words are read Power Rangers, the comic. book.
I don't know. I just got into it this week. Or you know what? Actually, legitimately, I started reading Spawn comics.
Yeah.
From issue number 1. And it's pretty awesome. It's
That is a great series.
it's sick, you could say. In the most 90s way possible. It is unabashedly 90s.
All right.
Still has one of my favorite comic book characters of all time,
Is it Agatha? Wait,
Angela.
Angela, that's what I meant. Yeah, she's in the Marvel
Mhm.
Universe now, right?
Yes, she is. She's a Guardian.
So weird.
I know.
Yeah, but those comics are absolutely brutal.
Like violent or?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Spawn captures a child killer and then like strips him naked, wraps him in chains, and hangs him from a detective's office because the detective failed to arrest him. It's awesome.
Twitch and
Same in Twitch, yeah.
Yep.
They're cool.
All right, CB, what about you, man?
I've been on a late 80s, early 90s movie kick.
Mm-hmm.
And I just watched The Abyss again for the first time in a while.
I've never seen that one.
Still kind of holds up.
Yeah?
So, The Abyss and Tremors.
Oh, Tremors is so good. It's so cheesy, but it's so good.
Yeah, that movie is still so good. I'm actually, once we get done, I was going to go upstairs and watch Tremors 2.
Isn't there like 6 sequels or something?
There are 7.
7? It's just nuts. I'm going to recommend something a little bit newer. I know that the Golden Globes were last night, and Rosamund Pike won a Golden Globe for her performance in this movie. But do yourself a favor and watch I Care a Lot. It is a messed up movie. Like, you will not like anybody by the end of it. It's so over the top, ridiculous. It's almost a comedy at points. But it's Rosamund Pike and Peter Dinklage basically going back and forth, trading blows. And it's worth a watch. Normally I don't get into the Golden Globe ones or the award shows. They always do like the super artsy ones. I really like this movie, and I was surprised I did. It was really good.
Trailers look great.
Messed up. I do not like her haircut, though. I know that's a weird thing to say. Her haircut really bothered me in that movie. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to The Gaming Outsider. I want to remind you that the show is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. You can find his stuff at stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.